The cameras were rolling, the stage was set, and everyone thought it'd be another messy but predictable day on Love and Hip Hop. Wrong. What went down had producers panicking, cast members frozen, and fans screaming, "Did that really just happen?" Word on the street is filming shut down instantly after a blow-up went from shady to downright nuclear. Insiders swear Mendeecees, normally calm as a monk, finally snapped once his wife Yandy got dragged straight into the line of fire. The room allegedly turned to ice as voices shot up. Accusations flew like bullets, and security braced for a full-on brawl. Some blame Ciara and her non-stop shade for lighting the match. Others swear producers engineered the disaster, feeding off weeks of boiling tension. Either way, here's the bottom line. This wasn't your standard scripted drama. This was raw chaos ripping the thin veil between reality TV and real life. Crew members, blindsided, reportedly yelled for cameras to cut, but it was too late. The meltdown spilled past anything a script could cage. And now fans are demanding answers louder than ever. How did it all spin so wildly out of control? And what does this mess really mean for the future of love and hip-hop? Truth is, the explosion started way before cameras caught that meltdown. It was simmering quietly in whispers, shady digs, and backhanded smiles that everyone felt. But nobody expected to combust this hard. Not even the producers, who usually feed on chaos like it's their morning coffee. That day, they came in ready for sparks, but instead walked into a full-blown inferno that shut production down. Mendeecees, usually praised as cool and calculated, hit a breaking point his own boys had never seen. Behind the scenes, he was already drowning under the pressure, protecting his family's image while swatting at rumors that refused to die. Yandy, ever the picture of grace, kept her head high online. Cheerful updates, motivational quotes, like the drama couldn't touch her. But the cracks were showing for those who paid attention. The way her eyes locked on her phone after a shady post went viral, the way her tone tightened every time her name got dragged in interviews. And then there was Ciara, who lives for confrontation. True to form, she didn't flinch. If anything, she doubled down, reminding everyone she never backs away from a fight. She didn't just sit back, she poured gasoline on the whispers, tossing out cryptic comments online, slyly hinting that the so-called perfect family wasn't so perfect after all. Fans ate it up, dissecting every caption, every emoji, every petty jab until speculation exploded into trending topics overnight. Things finally snapped during a group dinner, where laughter and cocktails froze midair after Ciara slid in a slick remark about loyalty. Yandy tried to shrug it off, but the sting was already there. Mendeecees sat stone still, jaw locked, his silence speaking volumes. The very next day, social media caught fire again when Ciara double-tapped a shady post accusing a couple of faking their entire happiness. No names dropped, but everyone knew exactly who she was shading. Yandy clapped back with a glossy family photo and a caption dripping with love and loyalty. It could have stopped right there, but instead, it ignited the flames even higher. Insiders whispered producers clocked the engagement boost and pushed it further, scheming scenes that forced all three into the same space. What they called great TV was really a ticking time bomb. By the time cameras rolled again, the air was suffocating with tension. Crew members whispered about possible security problems while nervous glances darted across the cast. Ciara strutted in with her trademark smirk, scrolling like she was untouchable. Yandy arrived polished, but that tight smile gave away the storm boiling underneath. And Mendeecees? He walked in dead quiet, but the weight in his eyes said everything. His very presence flipped the entire atmosphere. He wasn't even supposed to be at the center of this scene, but the protective weight he carried made him impossible to ignore. Producers gave the cue, cameras started rolling, and the exchange began in careful, measured tones. A producer tossed out the question about rising tensions, and Ciara pounced, her words dripping venom as she accused certain people of faking it all for the cameras. The air thickened instantly, the silence pressing hard on everyone in the room. Yandy answered steady but sharp, daring Ciara to lay it all on the table. That's when the line got crossed. Ciara leaned in, flat-out branding Yandy manipulative, claiming she played the victim while secretly stabbing castmates in the back. Gasps shot through the room, and every eye locked on Mendeecees. He shifted forward, voice low but lethal, warning Sierra never to disrespect his wife again. It was a rare sight, the usually calm man stepping headfirst into the flames. His tone cut the air like a blade and the room went dead silent. But Sierra? She didn't even blink. Instead, she laughed, mocking him for rushing to Yandy's rescue. Then she dropped the bomb, hinting that if he knew the whole truth, he might not be so quick to shield her. That single jab detonated across the set, shaking everyone's trust and fueling instant whispers. Yandy's mask finally cracked, her voice rising as she snapped back, accusing Sierra of clout chasing like her life depended on it, and trying to rip families apart just to chase a spotlight. The clash ignited like gasoline. Sierra shot to her feet, voice booming as she bragged about receipts she claimed were locked and loaded. The crew froze in place. Cast members whispered in panic, and phones slid out under tables to catch what everyone knew could explode into viral gold. Mendeecees rose slowly, his towering frame swallowing the room, warning Sierra in a voice calm, yet burning with fury to stand down. But Sierra doubled down, throwing shade heavier than ever, hinting that Yandy had side dealings and dirty secrets the world needed to know. Producers froze, cut the scene or let it roll. What started as a juicy storyline had spun into a real confrontation no script could tame. Yandy, shaking with rage, cracked mid-shout, firing back accusations of jealousy and lies. The cast erupted, some begging for calm while others leaned in, wide-eyed, desperate for the next hit of chaos. Security edged forward, ready to break it up, but Mendeecees wasn't. Stepping back, finger pointed, voice thundering, he blasted Sierra for tearing families apart just to feed her ego. His words sliced the noise, dropping heavy in the air. But Sierra only smirked, unshaken, and fired off the line that sent chills, rippling beyond the set. If the truth can break your family, maybe it was never that strong to begin with. And just like that, the atmosphere shattered. Yandy lunged forward only to be yanked back by another castmate. Security moved in on Mendeecees, but he shoved past them, his rage locked on Sierra like a target. The room detonated into full-blown chaos. Cast members screaming, crew scrambling, and cameras still rolling even as producers shouted to cut. Drinks splashed, chairs screeched across the floor, and voices crashed together like a thunderstorm. This wasn't TV anymore. It was raw, volatile, and straight-up dangerous. When the storm finally calmed just enough, the wreckage was undeniable. Security restrained Mendeecees while Sierra stood tall, smirking like she'd just claimed some twisted victory. Yandy's trembling voice cut through the noise, accusing Sierra of tearing at her family. Sierra barked back that truth can't stay buried, throwing fuel on an already raging fire. Castmates looked around horrified, whispering that this had gone too far, that dragging families into the mess crossed a line even for them. Producers had no choice. The scene had spun past control. With one sharp command, cameras were cut, lights dimmed, and the carefully planned chaos collapsed into something no one could script. As the crew scattered, whispers filled the silence. Some swore Sierra pushed it too far, others blamed Mendeecees for losing control. But one fact stood solid. Love and hip-hop had just witnessed a confrontation so raw, so unfiltered, it permanently shifted the energy of the entire franchise. What was supposed to be just reality TV had officially crossed into dangerous territory, and no one knew how to reel it back. Outside the set, the world was already buzzing. Leaked snippets hit the internet within minutes, fans dissecting every shaky frame and demanding answers. What began as just another shoot spiraled into one of the most unforgettable meltdowns in reality TV history. Backstage, the atmosphere was suffocating. Security lingered by the exits. Producers huddled in circles with clipped voices, arguing whether the footage should be buried forever or blasted out as the kind of chaos that could dominate headlines for weeks. Yandy sat folded in a corner, her face hidden in her hands as tears slipped through her fingers, close friends struggling to comfort her. Her phone wouldn't stop buzzing, messages flooding in from castmates, fans, and even her kids who had already seen the shaky clips, spreading like wildfire. Social feeds exploded with captions screaming, "Love and hip-hop shut down after heated fight," pulling in thousands of comments in minutes. And while Yandy crumbled, Sierra thrived in the madness. Makeup smeared, voice still raw, she whipped out her phone and jumped on Instagram Live like she owned the night. With a sarcastic smirk, she mocked the claims that she went too far, purring into the camera, "I didn't even say half of what I know. If they come for me again, trust. I've got receipts," Sierra sneered, and within seconds, her live was swarmed with thousands. Some hyped her up for being fearless, while others dragged her for airing out families like dirty laundry. The comments lit up like a war zone, fire emojis, accusations, demands for proof flying nonstop. Meanwhile, Mendeecees was outside pacing, chest still heaving from the chaos inside. Security lingered nearby but kept their distance, careful of the fire still blazing in his eyes. His friends tried calming him, but his voice stayed low, guttural, repeating one thing over and over. "She's dragging my wife's name through the mud. I won't let her do that." Moments later, Yandy stepped out, cheeks streaked with tears, voice trembling as she clutched his arm. "Every time you fight back, it makes me look guilty," she whispered. For a brief second, his face softened, but the storm in his eyes never really left. He felt cornered, baited into losing control, and certain Sierra had planned it that way. The rest of the cast stood divided. Rashida whispered to a crew member that in all her years on the show, she had never seen it spiral this far. Another castmate muttered that if this footage ever aired, somebody's career was finished. But fear couldn't drown out the buzz. Online fans replayed the leaked clip frame by frame, the second Mendeecees stood, the crack in Yandy's composure, the smirk Sierra threw like a dagger. Podcasts scrambled to drop emergency episodes, hungry to break it down first. Bloggers wasted no time, blasting headlines that screamed pure chaos, while reaction channels dissected every smirk and side-eye frame by frame. By sunrise, the scandal had spun completely out of control. Gossip blogs pushed stories with titles like "Production halts amid explosive fight" and "Sierra claims Yandy is hiding secrets." Fan pages clogged timelines with endless memes. Some crowned Sierra as fearless while others dragged her for clout chasing. Hashtags like "Charge Team Yandy," "Charge Team Sierra," and "Protect Mendeecees" trended all at once, sucking fans even deeper into the spectacle. The audience was split straight down the middle. Yandy's supporters swarmed her comments with encouragement, vowing that her image as a loyal, unshakable woman couldn't be touched. But critics were harsher, asking why she looked so defensive if she had nothing to hide. Meanwhile, Sierra's fan base egged her on. "Drop the receipts, sis," one wrote under her latest post. Another chimed in, "Expose everybody. We ready." Feeding off the chaos, Sierra doubled down with a cryptic selfie captioned, "The truth always comes out." And just like that, speculation exploded again. Fans convinced she really did have dirt that could ruin Yandy off camera. Behind the scenes, producers called an emergency meeting. The air was thick, and the showrunner slammed his fist on the table, demanding answers. "We've got two choices," the showrunner snapped. "Bury this and take the heat for protecting Yandy, or air it and risk the network dropping us." Legal warned of lawsuits, marketing pushed that the buzz was too big to waste, and nobody wanted the final word. But the truth was obvious. The genie was already out of the bottle. Clips were everywhere, the story spreading like wildfire, and silence would only feed the flames. The fallout stretched far past the show. Brands tied to Yandy and Mendeecees started calling their managers in panic, warning that if the rumors didn't cool down, partnerships might disappear. Yandy, already shaken, feared years of building her polished image. Strength, composure, businesswoman vibes could collapse overnight. Meanwhile, Mendeecees, quieter in public, spiraled in private. Friends said he felt cornered, convinced anything he did or said would be twisted against him.